Hey guys, Chris here with The Good Old Gamer. So today there's some news out there, and there's some news going on personally that's going to affect the channel. So we're going to go ahead and cover what's going on out there in the tech world, and then we're going to go over what's going on with me personally and how that's going to affect the channel moving forward. But let's go ahead and check out what's going on today. So some of you may have heard, some of you may not have. There are rumors floating around that Nvidia's Ampere might launch on April 12th. The GTX 2070 or 2080 or 1170 or 1180, nobody's really 100% sure. Because remember, these are just rumors, so take this with a grain of salt. But this seems likely with the GPU shortage going on out there. And it seems like it makes sense that Nvidia has been pouring their resources into their next architecture or their next GPU line versus pushing out more Pascal cards. Now, April 12th, this seems a little bit sooner than we were anticipating. Most of us were figuring the middle of the year. And Ampere has already pretty much been out there for a while, so this isn't news here. That seems to be where things have been going for the past 6 months or so. The reason why that they're not going with Volta is most likely because Volta really isn't anything different than Pascal anyway, except for the tensor cores. And there's simply no reason for that for a gaming GPU. That's not what that's designed for. Now, HBM2 also being very costly is another reason why they most likely are not going with Volta. Now, in this rumor, this is all speculations over here on Guru 3D. The link will be in the description below. But Ampere, they're basically thinking that it's a Pascal refresh, which is a Maxwell refresh. And I kind of agree. I believe that this is one of the directions that Nvidia was looking at going. Now that they have the 12 nanometer process, they can throw on some more CUDA cores onto that process, much like the Volta card versus the GP100. It has a lot more CUDA cores and then obviously the tensor cores. So it seems like that's more than likely where they're going to be going with Ampere. It's likely just going to be more CUDA cores, similar clock speeds, and GDDR6. Now, this may only be on the high end, something like the 2080 and above, and GDDR5X perhaps on the 2070, and below. We really don't know, but they're speculating that the 2070 will likely be in the range of the GTX 1080 Ti. Now, to me, that seems a little bit higher. I was actually thinking if the Nvidia went this route with another refresh, that the 1080 Ti would be more like the 2080, and then the 2070 would be more like the 1080. Just because the manufacturing process really hasn't changed that much. The 12 nanometer is just basically a tweaked version of the current 16 nanometer process that Pascal's already based on. But it looks like they were able to go ahead and push things a little bit further than anticipated if these rumors are to be believed. And that's a good thing. Now, I know typically I'm very critical about Nvidia and their releases, but we're at a state in the market where any new GPU from either manufacturer is a good thing, as long as there is supply. We now live in a world where the GTX 1050 Ti is over $200. And Newegg actually sent me an email yesterday saying that they had a special on one of these guys running at $239. At first, I thought it was a GTX 1063 gig, and I was like, oh, that's not really that great of a deal. And then I saw it was a 1050 Ti at this price, and I about fell out of my chair. For PC gaming, things are really coming to a head, and the market needs something new. Now, even if miners go out and they see that the new GPUs are very efficient for mining and shift in that direction, more than likely they will go ahead and dump their current stock into the second-hand market. So that means, current gen Pascal cards will then become available at reasonable prices. Or maybe they're not as efficient as the Pascal cards, because once again, going from the 16 nanometer to the 12 nanometer isn't that big of a difference. It's just a refinement. Maybe, the performance per watt isn't as good. Who knows? We'll find out. And if that's the case, maybe gamers will have a chance to get their hands on them. But we're currently at a point that pretty much any GPU that comes out is going to be snatched up by miners, and that's going to affect prices and availability, and that's pretty shitty. But on the upside, hopefully that means that some of these guys will start dumping their less efficient GPUs onto the second-hand market, and then gamers can get their hands on GPUs at reasonable prices. Either way, newer GPUs on the market and in abundance will help, get supply out there so that you, me, anybody could get their hands on them. Whether that means they're secondhand mining cards, which that may come with its own, problems, but most of those cards should still be under manufacturer's warranty anyway, as Pascal's only 2 years old, and usually most manufacturers warranty GPUs for 3 years and some up to 5. As far as performance goes, it's all speculative, and the fact that they're even possibly coming out in April is speculative, but typically a GPU generation lasts about 18 months, and we're actually already past that. So even April 2018, that's going to be a little bit delayed more than usual, and perhaps that's Nvidia's way of, maybe they were just trying to build up stock, or perhaps they were waiting for GDDR6 to become plentiful, and maybe that was part of it, or maybe it was some combination of the two factors. Hopefully they understand that these are going to be in high demand, almost regardless of their price, and hopefully there's enough supply out there. Now, hopefully they learned from last time with Pascal not to do the stupid Frontier Founders Edition, whatever, the FE cards that they had with the $50 to $100 price premium. Just set one MSRP, because it's not going to be abided by anyway, but at the very least that would let consumers know, hey, this is where the cards are supposed to be, and kind of set your guidelines like that. Hopefully they don't play games this time around. I don't really think the market's really in the mood for dealing with that, because we all are pretty much going to expect that these are going to be over MSRP regardless. But anyways, hopefully that all comes true. Hopefully some sanity with some new cards gets infused into the market, and better performance for less money, hopefully. Or at the very least, we can get our hands on, 10 series cards and RX 580s and things like that at a reasonable price. Maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. We will have to wait and see. All right, so moving on from there, I have some news that will affect the channel. I've been offered a new career. A new job has presented itself, and I will be starting in a couple of weeks. And this is going to be kind of a step backwards for me personally. This is a job, like an entry-level position, to get to the job where I want to be. So what this means is I'm going to have to work 2 jobs, basically. I'm going to have to work there full-time and keep my current job part-time. Not really a big deal. A lot of people work 2 jobs, but I will be having to work 7 days a week, and I will be putting in about 60-ish hours a week into between the two. And unfortunately, that just doesn't leave me with a lot of free time at all to begin with. And simply put, I'm just not going to have a lot of time to invest into making videos. And I don't like that. I don't like not having that opportunity. I enjoy doing this. I like having the time to do the research and put things together and nice edits and make everything look nice. Which on some of the more recent videos that I've done, I've spent a lot of time into the video editing, try to make things look a little bit nicer and present better information for you guys. But it takes a lot of time to do that. And unfortunately, that's just not going to be possible. I've already shut down my Patreon account, and I really want to thank everybody who has financially supported this channel. And I also want to really thank anybody who's just supported this channel at all. Now, this may or may not be the final video of this channel. I just kind of wanted to throw in that news information because that just came out. But more than likely, I will do quick little videos like this, give you my opinions on the 2070, 2080, things like that. If anything's coming out from Nvidia, and maybe some inside thoughts on the new AMD CPUs once they come out. But it's just going to be basic talking head videos because these are much easier to produce. Maybe I'll have some gameplay going on in the background, so it's a little bit more entertaining to watch. But, stuff like this isn't that hard, but I'm not going to be able to spend hours and hours and hours on research and hours and hours and hours on video editing because I simply won't have the time to do that. And honestly, as much as I enjoy doing this, financially, it's just not worth it. The 10 hours it takes me to create, one of those videos without the research, so up to about 20 hours on some of the bigger ones, I can go to work and make more money in that 20-hour period than I do doing this in an entire year. So it just simply comes down to resources. And as we found out today, we did our taxes. We're in that bracket where we end up owing money more often than not, even though we thought we were going to get some back after buying a house and all this and that. Taxes are great, by the way, guys. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's the situation. Like I said, this may end up being the last video for a very long time until I reach that next level at my new job, where then I can shed off my part-time job and I will have some free time and I will hopefully be back doing 1, 2, maybe even 3 videos a week, as per usual, which is ideal. Now, once 2018 hit and I started, pumping out videos 2 to 3 a week, I didn't realize that this was going to happen. I wasn't expecting to get this position. It just kind of happened here in the past couple of weeks. And I've been kind of trying to figure out how to make it work, because it's almost like an intern position that I'm going to be starting at. So my pay is literally half of what I'm making now at my current job. So I have to supplement that because I'm barely scraping by right now. So it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things. But like I said, luckily it'll take a year, hopefully less, maybe a little bit more. But then I can step up to the next position, which is what I really want. And then finances shouldn't be much of an issue from there on out. I'll have to put in probably 50, 60 hours at that one job. But that's a lot easier to do than bounce around doing 2 different jobs, because, these careers are different. One's retail and one is in financial services. So they're similar but different. And, jumping back and forth, I think it's going to take a toll on me. But, it has to be done. That's just the way it is. I'm sure a lot of you guys understand out there if you've ever had to work 2 or 3 jobs. It is what it is. You got to make do right by your family and to keep things going. But I just wanted to personally thank every single one of you out there who supported this channel and that believed in us, especially those, our patrons. I personally thanked each and every one of them for their support, and thank you very much. Like I said, keep your eyes out if you want to keep your sub. Every once in a while, there'll probably be a video that pops up. I might be able to squeak out a few hours here and there and put something together for you. But if I can't, I'm sorry. It's just kind of the way it is. And if this does happen to be my last video, working 7 days a week for a year, I may be burned out. And just that, by the time I do have free time, I might want to just rest. I'm not going to lie, that may be the case. So if this does happen to be my last video, I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And hopefully, I'll catch you guys in the next video.